Movie Town presenting Gaia 2021 movie. At the beginning of the story, we see two forest people from South Africa who are going down the river in a boat. The forest where these two are is very deep and deserted. The girl's name is Gabby, and her senior's name is Winston. Gabby sends her drone towards the forest to check whether everything is fine or not. Then someone's eyes fall on the drone, and that man catches the drone, due to which Gabby gets scared. Then she tells Winston about this and tells him that she is going to take her drone, but he forbids her to go because this forest is very dangerous and very few people come back after going into this forest. But Gabby says that the drone is very important, so she has to bring the drone. Then Winston leaves it on the shore, and after an hour he was going to come back and pick it up. There in the forest, the two people who had caught Gabby's drone were there are those who are hunting with bows and arrows and laying traps in the forest. Then they prepare some food for themselves. They are catching insects and animals. There Winston is taking memory cards from the cameras fitted in the forest. When this happens, she sees mud on the camera, which was put by those two men, so that no one would know about whatever is happening in the forest. Meanwhile, Gabby is searching for the drone, and then she sees a strange man. Out of fear, she is about to leave when her foot gets stuck in the trap that the two men had set. Gabby is writhing around because a sharp piece of wood had entered her foot. She calls Winston through the walkie-talkie. She calls him, but his walkie-talkie is in the boat, and he was in the forest. Gabby somehow pulls out the wood with her foot. Then when Winston comes to the boat, he sees that his walkie-talkie has fallen in the water and is damaged. Then he hears the screaming sounds of Gabby, who is screaming in pain. Winston goes into the forest again to find her. Soon it becomes night, and Gabby walks near a house near the forest. When Gabby calls out, no one comes from inside the house. Then she goes inside the house so that she can rest and heal her injury. There is no one in the house, so Gabby rests. Winston sees a strange thing in the forest. A sound is heard, and in the meanwhile, he sees a strange man who runs away in fear. Seeing this, the two men who had caught the drone come into the house. These two are father and son, in which the father's name is Parent and the son's name is Stephen. They have a house. They see Gabby sleeping. Byrne wakes her up and asks who she is and what she is doing here. She tells that she works in the Forest Service and her foot got stuck in the trap, so she has come here to rest. Then they both bandage Gabby's injury. Then they give her food. Gabby doesn't like food, so she doesn't eat. Here Gabby tells them that she saw a strange thing outside. Winston gets tired of running and sits near a tree when the man catches him with his tentacles. The next morning, Gabby is sleeping when Stephen hurts his foot. Meanwhile, he tries to touch him. Actually, when Stephen was 6 months old, his father had brought him to this forest. Since then, Stephen has never been outside this forest because he was unaware of the outside world and was seeing a girl for the first time. After some time, Gabby has a nightmare in which fungus grows all over her body, due to which Gabby gets scared and loses her sleep. Here in the forest, Baron and Stephen have gone hunting. She tries to talk to Winston with a walkie-talkie. Then she talks to Winston, but he is unable to say much. Gabby wanted to go to the forest to find Winston, but her leg was hurt, so she could not go. Gabby went to the house. The fire is burning so that Winston can come here after seeing the smoke of the fire. Then Baroness Tiffin comes to the house after hunting and tells him that we do not light fires in the day. Gabby tells that her friend Vincennes is alive. Baron Tun says, okay, tomorrow he will take her to search in the forest. At night he removes the bandage from Gabby's foot, and then she asks him about his wife. To this, Baron tells that he used to be a plant pathologist, and for 13 years first, after the death of his wife from bone cancer, he started living in the forest with his son. Then Baron says that while living in the forest, he met God, after which this forest is everything for him. This thing is to Gabby. It looks a bit strange. On the other hand, we see Winston, who has been infected with a fast-growing fungus, and plants are growing in his body. Here, when Gabby, Baron, and Stephen are sleeping at night, they are heard by someone from outside the house. There's a sound of someone being killed, so the Baron tells Gabby to be quiet. There is some strange man or creature outside that is trying to come inside the house. Baron Stephen gets ready to fight him, with a bow and arrow. The Baron tells Gabby asks to apply a herbal paste, which both of them use to apply, so that the creature would not come near them after smelling it. Baron tells Gabby that the creature cannot see, so she should stay aside and not make any sound. Then the creature breaks the door and enters the house. Then Stephen tries to drive it away by shooting an arrow, but the creature comes to Gabby. Then Stephen wounds it and drives it away from the house. Gabby has the creature's blood on it, which Stephen quickly cleans from Gabby, so that Gabby does not get any infection. Baron keeps a little of the creature's blood with himself. Here Baron explains that these creatures release germs which infect humans, and the germs turn into fungus which infects their eyes, mouth, and eats the lungs, and later he starts looking like a creature, and fungus plants grow all over his body. As if the creature that attacked him was also a human being, but due to being affected, he became like this, and at the same time Baron tells him that the creature was created by God. Gabby asks him which God he is talking about. He says that before humans came to the earth, a goddess lived in the forests. Gabby doesn't believe what she says, so she goes to sleep. The next day, Gabby takes a selfie with Stephen on her phone, and she shows him the photo she took. Gabby tells her to go outside. It's a different world where you can do everything. Then Baron comes and breaks Gabby's phone, and tells his son to stay away from her. Baron did not want his son to know anything about the outside people and the world. Later, Baron goes with his son to an old tree which has a big pit inside it. He pours the creature's blood inside the pit and makes an offering. Then both he and Stephen eat some mushrooms growing in the tree. Actually, Baron and Gabby believed that by eating this, they would not be affected by the fungus. Here in the house, Gabby finds some papers written by the Baron in which it is written about a goddess named Gaia. Then Baron and Stephen come there, and the Baron tells Gabby. Stefan hugs Gabby and doesn't want to let her go because he has grown fond of Gabby. Baron and Gabby now walk through the forest. Then Gabby finds Winston's toe, which makes her understand that he must be here somewhere. Gabby starts going alone into the forest. Then the Baron stops her and says that there could be a creature here, but she ignores him and moves ahead. Then he also follows Gabby. Then she takes out the chip from the camera installed by the forest department in the tree so that she can know what happened to Winston. After walking ahead for some time, Gabby sees Winston, who is in the tree. He has mushrooms growing on his body, along with several species of fungus on his body. Winston is still alive. He asks Gabby to kill him so that he does not have to suffer any more pain. Then Baron, he is about to be shot by an arrow when Gabby stops the Baron from shooting him with the arrow, and she wants to take Winston to the hospital, but the Baron says that he cannot be cured and later he will become a creature. Anyway, it is nature's way. Then Baron places an arrow in front of Winston's mouth, which Winston himself puts in his mouth. Then they hear the sound of the creature. So Baron and Gabby come running inside the house. Then Gabby shoots Joe from the camera. She had taken out the chip, inserted it into her phone, and saw that some photos of the same creature had been captured in it. After that at night, Gabby would notice that strange mushrooms were growing out of her body. She would ask Baron if she had any help to fix it. If there is medicine, he should give it to her. He doesn't say anything and goes to the tree to pray so that he can ask for a mushroom for Gabby, which she can eat and get well. Here, Gabby asks Stephen if he misses his mother. On this he says that his mother is not dead, but nature has adopted her and she lives in the forest. He will show her to his mother someday. Here Gabby tells Stephen that she will come with him out of the forest and into the city. She will go and teach him, and he will find many friends outside, but he cannot leave his father because he has taken care of him after his mother left. There P demands something from the Baron, which makes him very upset. It turns out that in fact the tree had demanded the sacrifice of his son, i.e. Stephen. The Baron returns home sad from here. The next day the Baron takes Stephen to the same tree for prayer. Then he takes out 2 mushrooms from inside the tree, and one he gives it to his son Stephen to eat, but he hides it without eating it, and after coming home he gives a mushroom to Gabby. After eating which, she sees that all the mushrooms that were in her body have disappeared. That is, this medicine. It is the tree that he used to give them. After eating which, both father and son were not affected by the fungus. Baron was going to drop Gabby from here near his boat, but she decides to stay here with him. After which Stephen and Gabby come closer. It seems that he teaches Gabi how to shoot a bow and arrow and many other things. The parent is not happy to see them together. He is afraid that his son will leave him. Stephen brings Gabi to the same tree, and she tells that this tree belongs to his mother, and there is still a wedding ring of his mother on that tree. After this, Gabi asks Baron why he lives here. He says that the goddess who lives in the tree. He believes it wholeheartedly. Baron tells that he believes that the world has been ruined due to humanity's actions, and humans are polluting nature, cutting trees and building houses, etc. Nature has taught us to live together, but these people, they don't understand. That's why these trees will later adopt all the people who come to this forest. That is, they will destroy them because they are running away from nature. Here Gabi tells Baron that she also wants to see the goddess of pain. After this, Stephen and the Baron performs a ritual on Gabi, and she then becomes unconscious and is near the same tree in the dream. She was able to see nature from close, which made her understand whatever the Baron had told her, i.e. goddess Gaia. She actually lives in the same tree. Then she comes to her senses and tells that the tree wants Bear to kill his son Stefan because he has hunted many animals for his food, and he too has to sacrifice his son to nature. The next day, when Gabi is taking Stefan out of the forest and taking him to the city, Baron tells his son that he has always taken care of him and that he should not leave him now because nature has given them everything. Now it's their turn, so they will have to sacrifice their son for goddess Gaia. But Stephen agrees reluctantly. After seeing all this, Gabi reluctantly starts going back to the city alone. But on the way, Gabi discovers something. After a while, she hears the voice of the creature, which scares her. Then she changes her mind, and she comes back to stop the Baron from sacrificing Stephen. Here Gabi hides and sees the Baron taking Stephen to the tree, so that after those people leave to sacrifice her, Gabi comes into the house and takes a bow and arrow. Then she goes near the tree. Just then the creature is behind her. Gabi knows that the creature cannot see anything, so she uses all her power. She drives the creature away from there by shooting an arrow. Then Gabi comes near the tree and stops the Baron from sacrificing Stephen. But she grabs Stephen by the roots of the tree, and Gabi is also caught by the roots of the tree as if she is about to sacrifice Stephen. She somehow frees herself from the Baron and stops him, and Stephen also frees himself from the roots of the tree and comes to his father and stabs him in the back. Then there comes the sound of the creature. So Gabi and Stephen run into the house. We go there and see a fungus growing from the Baron's back. That is, during this time he was affected by the fungus. Then he offers his blood to the tree so that it can be cured by eating the mushroom. But this time goddess Gaia did not give him any mushroom, given because Gaia had to sacrifice her daughter to goddess Gaia, which he could not complete. So his body gets filled with all these fungus mushrooms and he dies. Next morning we see that Gabi has been infected with the fungus and her body has died. The body is stuffed with mushrooms. She begs Stephen to kill her and tells him to go to the city and make a new start. Stephen kills Gabi despite his unwillingness to do so. Then Stephen heads to the city, and after reaching the city, he finds a restaurant, but he eats the food and then leaves the restaurant. The remaining part of his food soon gets infected with fungus, which means that the tree will continue to bear its sacrifice. Actually, Gaia means Mother Earth in Greek mythology, which is responsible for all the living beings in the world. Friends, after the death of his wife, Baron came to live in the forest with his small child because he is a plant pathologist by profession, and he knew about Gaia Devi and he believed in her a lot. So he decided to stay here. He came and asked Gaia Devi to bring his wife back to life, but she could not come back to life. Hence Gaia Devi brought his wife back to life and took her with her to the same tree, after which the Baron starts worshiping the same tree, and he, the forest, was accepted as everything, and with this the movie ends. We hope that you like this story.